Did you know that in ancient Rome, age gaps in relationships were completely normal, even expected? Thousands of years later, Hollywood keeps telling these stories. But one of these 10 movies was so controversial, it almost never got released. Stick around. You'll want to know which one and why. Movie 1, Chloe, 2009. Let's start with Chloe. This movie came out in 2009. It stars Julianne Moore and Amanda Seyfried. The story is about a married woman named Catherine. She starts to believe her husband is cheating on her. So she hires a young woman named Chloe to test him. But things go in a very unexpected direction. The age gap here is between Catherine and Chloe. One woman is older, experienced, and scared of losing control. The other is young, bold, and unpredictable. The movie explores jealousy, desire, and obsession in a way that makes you uncomfortable. In a good way. Director Atom Migoyan made this as a remake of a French film called Natalie from 2003. It is a slow burn, but the twist at the end, most people did not see it coming. Movie 2, 50 Shades of Grey, 2015. Yes, this one is on the list. 50 Shades of Grey came out in 2015. It is based on the best-selling novel by E.L. James. The book sold over 125 million copies worldwide. That is more than the first Harry Potter book sold in its first 10 years. The story follows Anastasia Steele, a college student in her early 20s. She meets Christian Grey, a powerful businessman in his late 20s. The age gap is not huge, but the power gap is enormous. Christian is controlling, mysterious, and overwhelming. Anastasia is shy, curious, and slowly drawn in. The film made over $570 million at the global box office. Critics were harsh. They said the story romanticized unhealthy relationships. That is a fair point, and worth thinking about when you watch it. But here is the truth. The movie sparked a global conversation about relationships, power, and choice. And that conversation, still happening today. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button and subscribe. We drop new movie lists every week, and trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next on this list. Movie 3, Adore, 2013. Adore is one of the most unusual movies on this list. Two best friends, both women, both mothers, and both fall in love with each other's sons. Yes, you read that right. This Australian-French film stars Naomi Watts and Robin Wright. They play lifelong friends who live in a beautiful coastal town in Australia. Their sons grow up together. And then, as adults, the lines between friendship, family, and romance completely blur. The film is based on a novella by Nobel Prize-winning author Doris Lessing. It was originally called The Grandmothers. That title alone tells you how far into the future this story looks. The age gap between the mothers and the young men is roughly 20 to 25 years. The film does not try to pretend this is simple or easy. It shows the confusion, the guilt, and the deep emotional pull all 4 characters feel. What makes it memorable is the location, the ocean, the sunlight, the sense that these people are living outside of normal rules. Movie 4, Unfaithful, 2002. Unfaithful is a movie about choices and consequences. Diane Lane plays Connie. She is a happily married woman living in the suburbs of New York. One rainy afternoon, she bumps into a young French man named Paul, played by Olivier Martinez. He is charming, he is younger, and she cannot stop thinking about him. What starts as an accident turns into something she cannot control. Director Adrian Lyne made this film in 2002. He is the same director who made Fatal Attraction and Indecent Proposal, so he clearly knows how to make audiences squirm. The age gap between Connie and Paul is around 10 years, not the largest on this list. But the emotional weight of the film comes from watching a good person make choices that slowly destroy everything she loves. Diane Lane was nominated for an Academy Award for this role. She deserved it. Her performance is raw, real, and impossible to look away from. It is not just a story about attraction. It is about what happens when someone steps outside the safe boundaries of their life and finds it very hard to step back. Movie 5, Elegy, 2008. Elegy is quiet, thoughtful, and absolutely heartbreaking. Ben Kingsley plays David Kopesh, a 62-year-old professor and cultural critic. He has spent his whole life avoiding deep emotional attachment. Then he meets Consuela, a 24-year-old student played by Penelope Cruz. The age gap is nearly 40 years. David is drawn to Consuela in a way he has never experienced before. He is obsessed. He is terrified. He tries to keep his emotions locked away, but he cannot. The film is based on a novel by Philip Roth, one of America's most celebrated authors. Philip Roth won the Pulitzer Prize, the National Book Award twice, and the Man Booker International Prize. His writing often explored aging, desire, and the complicated inner lives of men. What makes Elegy stand out is that it does not glamorize the relationship. It shows the insecurity David feels. He is constantly afraid of losing Consuela to someone younger. He wonders what she sees in him. Those feelings are portrayed honestly and painfully. Penelope Cruz gives a beautiful, graceful performance. She was already an Oscar winner when she made this film. It is a slow film, but slow in the way a good book is slow. Every scene adds something. Movie 6, Damage, 1992. Damage is one of the most intense films on this list. Jeremy Irons plays Stephen Fleming, a successful British politician. He has a perfect life, a loving wife, a respected career, and a son about to get married. Then he meets his son's fiancée, Anna, played by Juliette Binoche, and everything falls apart. The attraction between Stephen and Anna is immediate and overwhelming. They begin a secret relationship that neither of them seems able to stop, even though they both know it will cause enormous pain. Director Louis Malle made this film in 1992. He was one of France's greatest directors, known for pushing boundaries and exploring uncomfortable human emotions. The age gap here is significant. Stephen is in his 40s, Anna is in her 20s. But the real damage in the film is not about age. It is about betrayal, obsession, and the destruction that comes when someone acts purely on desire without thinking about the people they will hurt. Jeremy Irons won an Academy Award the year before this film for Reversal of Fortune. His performance in Damage is controlled and cold, which makes his character's obsession even more disturbing. Some films show you how love can lift people up. This one shows you how it can tear everything down. We are halfway through the list, and things are about to get more intense. Make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a video like this one. Movie 7. The Lover, 1992. The Lover is based on a real story. French author Marguerite Duras wrote a book called L'Amant, which means the lover in French. The book, published in 1984, won the Prix Goncourt, which is France's most prestigious literary award. It sold millions of copies worldwide, and it was based on her own life. The film, made in 1992, is set in 1929 Vietnam, when the country was still under French control. A 15-year-old French girl, played by Jane March, meets a wealthy 32-year-old Chinese man on a river ferry. He is played by Tony Leung Ka-fai. Their relationship begins quickly and carries deep emotional and cultural weight. She is poor, he is rich, she is European, he is Chinese. In the social world of 1929 colonial Vietnam, This connection is seen as deeply scandalous by both families. The age gap is about 17 years. But beyond the age, the film is really about power. Who has it, who loses it, and how love can exist even inside deeply unequal situations. The film is visually stunning. Vietnam looks breathtaking on screen. Director Jean-Jacques Annaud used sweeping cinematography to make the setting feel alive. Some viewers find it too slow, but those who appreciate literary cinema tend to love it deeply. This is a film that stays with you long after it ends. Movie 8, Notes on a Scandal, 2006. Now we are getting into higher-rated territory. Notes on a Scandal came out in 2006 and stars two of Britain's greatest actors, Cate Blanchett and Judi Dench. Cate Blanchett plays Sheba Hart, a new art teacher at a London school. Judi Dench plays Barbara Covett, an older colleague who becomes obsessed with Sheba. When Barbara discovers that Sheba is having an inappropriate relationship with a 15-year-old student, she uses that secret as a tool for control. This film has two age gap stories running at the same time. One is between Sheba and the teenager. The other is the emotional and psychological dynamic between Sheba and Barbara. The script was written by Patrick Marber, who also wrote the celebrated play Closer. The original novel was written by Zoe Heller and was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize. Both Blanchett and Dench received Academy Award nominations for their performances. Both were deserved. Judi Dench in particular is terrifying in this role, cold, sharp, and completely convincing. It was widely praised by critics for its writing, direction, and performances. What makes this movie brilliant is that it does not let anyone off the hook. Every character has flaws. Every character makes terrible decisions. And yet, you understand each one of them. It is a thriller disguised as a drama, and it is one of the best films on this list. Movie 9, Call Me By Your Name, 2017. We are now at the second highest rated film on this list. Call Me By Your Name came out in 2017 and immediately became a cultural phenomenon. It was directed by Luca Guadagnino, the Italian director who also made Suspiria and Bones and All. The story is set in northern Italy in the summer of 1983. Elio, a 17-year-old boy played by Timothée Chalamet, lives with his academic parents in a beautiful villa. When his father's graduate student Oliver, played by Armie Hammer, arrives for the summer, everything changes. Oliver is 24, Elio is 17, the age gap is 7 years. But the emotional distance between them feels much larger. Elio is discovering who he is. Oliver seems confident and settled. Their summer together becomes one of the most celebrated love stories in recent cinema. Timothée Chalamet received an Academy Award nomination for his performance. At the time, he was only 22 years old, making him the third youngest Best Actor nominee in Oscar history. The screenplay was written by James Ivory, who won the Academy Award for it. He was 89 years old when he won. That made him the oldest person ever to win a competitive Oscar. It was included in dozens of Best Films of the Decade lists. The final scene of the film, where Elio sits by a fireplace as the credits roll, is considered one of the greatest single shots in modern cinema. This is a movie that earns every bit of its praise. Movie 10, The Reader, 2008. We saved one of the most powerful for last. The Reader came out in 2008 and stars Kate Winslet and Ralph Fiennes. It was directed by Stephen Daldry, who also directed Billy Elliot and The Hours. The story begins in post-war Germany in 1958. A 15-year-old boy named Michael, played by David Cross, falls seriously ill on the street. A 36-year-old woman named Hannah, played by Kate Winslet, helps him get home. Months later, after recovering, Michael visits her to say thank you. A relationship begins, one that is tender, complex, and deeply troubling. The age gap is 21 years. Their relationship has a ritual. Before anything else, Michael reads aloud to Hannah from great works of literature: Homer, Chekhov, D.H. Lawrence. This detail, the reading, becomes the emotional core of the entire film. Years later, Michael, now a young law student played by Ralph Fiennes, encounters Hannah again, this time in a courtroom. What is revealed about her life forces him to completely rethink everything he thought he knew. Kate Winslet won the Academy Award for Best Actress for this role. She had been nominated 5 previous times without winning. In her acceptance speech, she was overcome with emotion, a moment that became one of the most memorable in Oscar history. The film also won the BAFTA Award for Best Film. The Reader is not an easy film. It deals with guilt, memory, moral responsibility, and the long shadow of history. It asks a hard question: can you love someone and still hold them accountable? There is no simple answer, and that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. 10 movies, 10 love stories that broke the rules. Some made you feel something warm, some made you deeply uncomfortable, and that is exactly what great cinema is supposed to do. Which one are you watching first? Drop it in the comments, and remember, subscribe. The next list is already coming.